Hey guys, just checking in. This is James from Misguided Spirits. Sorry about the pause and the delay between the books. It was Thanksgiving, and we've just been having some issues in New York City. It's just been really hard to kind of function as a business owner in New York recently, just with all the shutdowns that are about to happen, and the energy in bars is not. It's just not a good time right now. Anyways, we read Teams of Teams this week, and Teams of Teams is by General McChrystal. And what was really interesting about this read is that General McChrystal looked at an issue that he was having in the Iraq War, where they were encountering insurgent groups from Al Qaeda and ISIS that were a different beast. Basically, what he was trying to explain was that the military had a structured way of doing things that had a line of command, a chain of command, very similar to how corporate entities are run. There's many different layers, and a lot of the times you can execute. It just takes a lot of planning and timing and training, which is great. All those things are wonderful to use. It's just that it becomes difficult when you're in scenarios that need instant changing and pivoting. It was kind of an important read for where we're at right now and how I'm operating my team. So we have 5 guys in New York City. And those 5 guys, when it first started, about, I wouldn't say 8 months ago, each guy had a territory. And the idea was that those guys would then be that rep for the area and follow the regular distributor model of where they would represent the brand and also do the sales and help build that neighborhood. And I think I love that concept. But during a pandemic, what happens is there needs to be more cohesiveness within a team. I think a lot of people, when you work solo, you get into ruts. And ruts in selling in alcohol, whether it be beverage, beer or hard liquor, is where you have to be a self-motivator. Unfortunately, right now, it's not the easiest time to sell alcohol in New York City or LA or any metropolitan city. I mean, when you see your friends losing their business and work not going well, it's a lot of energy to take on as a liquor brand or a salesperson, but it's also hard to motivate yourself to go into the trenches. So what we've decided to do, and what reading this book really helped out with, was, pivoting in a way that everyone had a stake in everyone else's business. So we take over territories as a team. So the idea is that instead of one man or woman having a route, we would go into the route as a team. So with 5 guys, we take over the whole neighborhood. We spend time there developing relationships, seeing where we fit in, and then that one guy who has the main priority of that neighborhood would then follow up on it. I think the biggest thing that we can take away right now is that we're having, it's just hard, right? Like the pandemic is hard to do business. We have issues with following up in a way that is genuine, because I think when you come in a neighborhood and you're that many people, it can be an oversaturation. But at the same time too, it's like, how do you pick out, we don't need to be in every account. And I know that Misguided Spirits, which is a higher end, like basically what we want to do with Misguided Spirits was offer the best possible product at the cheapest price. When you start, and I'll have another video separate to this, breaking down the bottle cost, the sourcing cost, how much juice actually costs to go into the bottle, and how much you're actually getting charged as a consumer to purchase that bottle. And a lot of it has to go into marketing, the label. When you deal with a corporate liquor entity and you use a regular distributor model, which usually takes around 30 to 40% of the bottle, it's just kind of crazy what the end consumer gets in the end game. So what we've tried to do with our thing is offer a really high-end quality product, but a really cheap price. It's not going to fit everywhere. We know that. I think what we need to do is be smarter about where we target. And we have to, what's great about this book is it really talks about communication within that group and having fluid communication through the team. So if you look at a regular sales organization, sometimes the communication exists between the bottom 2 or 3 levels. But as you get higher, the communication and directive from the top sometimes doesn't lead down to the bottom. And it thinks, I mean, what the book is kind of gearing at is having, instead of having a lot of initiatives and goals, just focus on a couple ones really well that will change the attitude and momentum of the ship. And so that's really what we've been trying to focus on. We've had success some weeks. It's getting, like I said, difficult. And that's why there was a pause in the video. COVID is starting to increase in New York City. Bars are starting to close that have been here for 40, 50 years now. Whatever you hear on the news, it's bad. I mean, the energy is great. The people are here. We're getting through it as a community. But it's just a really difficult time to be in the bar and restaurant business in any metro city. I think ultimately things are going to have to shut down. I don't want to see that, but I think there needs to be some kind of support or relief that goes out to these restaurants, bars, and every businesses that connected to it. So my business is connected to the success of bars and restaurants being open. Distributors are connected to the success in bars and restaurants of being open, and same with food suppliers. So I think there's a lot of things that come out of when you close bars and restaurants that so many different industries are affected that we don't think about it. And it's just something that, when we hear that Congress or all this other stuff is not going to pass, it's really sad. So I've decided to take up my time reading the business books. It's been really great. I would recommend Teams of Teams. I really enjoyed this book. I will say this, reading books from a military perspective is interesting because I do like a lot of military background information. I'm a history buff, and there was a lot of history components in this, which was nice. But at the same time, too, I need to take a step back and understand that I would never be a General McChrystal. I have to look at these things from an outside, just take out what I need from the books and then move on. Going into the habit book, I have quit smoking. I wanted to try to change small habits that have big impacts. It's been horrible too. So going through that. But I'm just trying to change small things that have larger impacts. And then we're going to have a couple different videos. So I'm going to do one video on my business, how my business runs, how everything goes. I'm going to do another video on how we do marketing, or in my head, how we should be doing marketing. And then I have another video on other brands and how they're doing. There will be no shit talking about brands. It'll be only explaining where brands come from, how they're imported, and how they're distributed in the United States, and how they're targeting certain segments. When I mean segments, like how are they targeting the consumer? What retailer are they looking at? And then what does the retailer expect? Because there's a lot of expectations that a brand has and that a retailer has. So we're going to go through all of that stuff with you. I think this could be a really interesting journey. It's great to talk it out from my end, because it finalizes and makes everything in a video format for me, so I can go back and check out where I was in a year from now. But it also makes it interesting to see how these business books affect my business as well. I hope everyone has a really great weekend. The next book I'm going to be reading is called Selling Boldly. Hold on, I'll get the book for you right now. So this is the next book that I'll be reading. I'm going to try and do it within the week. It's been kind of interesting managing reading and doing business stuff, but this is a really good trait or habit that I need to start picking up anyways. I hope everyone has a really great weekend, and I'll talk to everyone soon.